Hello again, everybody. It is time for another video. This is going to be a bit different. I'm going to do one kind of similar to my Tallest Man on Earth video. I'm going to be doing a video entirely on one artist. And this artist is going to be my all-time favorite band. And that band is Sigur Rós. If you don't know Sigur Rós, they're a post-rock band, an art rock band, experimental rock band. You can call them a lot of different things. And they make some of the most stunning music that I personally have ever heard. They're out of Iceland. They started off with 4 members. I think they're down to 2 now, but they're a band that changed the way I looked at music, shaped the way I looked at music, and something that is, they're a band that's important to me for that reason. They really did change the way music was perceived in my mind, and I just think I want to, give them a shout out. Put this video out there, and maybe some other people can discover how amazing this band is. So, to start off, I'm going to be doing this in chronological order, just going through it. There's like a lot, I have a lot of shit by them, so this is going to be a longer video, but starting off, we got their debut, 1995, I believe. This is Vaughn. This album sounds not exactly like anything really they put out later. You can hear the influence on a lot of their later albums from this album, but this album is incredibly experimental, very ambient. I wouldn't even go necessarily say it's an ambient rock album per se. It's just an ambient album. Very lengthy tracks, subtle tracks. They really hadn't figured it out yet, I wouldn't say. Double LP, obviously an odd album cover. I like the sleeve of it. The sleeve is like this nice purple on it. This is an album that I don't listen to very much. Like I said, it's very dense, lengthy, experimental album, and it's not, in my opinion, their best material. Again, you can hear the influence from this album on a lot of their later works, but yeah, it's just nothing I listen to too much. Not a good place to start either. I feel like a lot of people, if they start with this one, might be turned off to the band. Oh, and a fun fact, I believe that baby on the cover is Jonsi's sister, who is named Sigur Rós. I could be wrong on that, though, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. I know the band is named after his little sister. Alright, next one we got. This is... I mentioned this album in my Vinyl Tag video a long time ago. That was probably like 2 years ago now. This is A Good Beginning, or if you'll allow me to butcher the name in Icelandic, Ágætis byrjun. This is my favorite album of all time. There's no other album that sound like this, except for albums also made by Sigur Rós. It's a slow, syrupy, dreamy, dark rock album that is just so unique and is so powerful and beautiful and can be so sad as well. There's very few albums that have affected me the way this album affects me, have made me think differently about everything. Not just this band in general, just music in general. Every single track on here is fantastic. It has a lot of their classics, like Svefngi Englar, Stadalfer, Nei Batteri, Vithrar vel til Loftarosa, Olsen Olsen. I would say this is definitely a good place to start. It's a classic of post-rock, of experimental rock, of music in general. It's just so blissful and so stunning that it's something that it's hard to describe on first listen, and something that just sucks you in and takes you away to a whole nother place. And yeah, this album is just absolutely incredible. Again, double LP, just on black, nothing crazy. Came to the CD with it as well, but yeah, just one all-time favorite of mine, man. Can't get enough of it. Next one we have their Untitled album, another classic. Another album that's very similar in vibe, I guess you could say, to A Good Beginning, or Ágætis byrjun. But they did something, they tried something new with this one. This is the album where they didn't use any words at all. The only words on this entire packaging are their website and the title, or their band name right there. There's no words in the packaging. There's no lyrics on the album. There's no song tracks listing, I don't believe. I don't think there's any song track listing on the labeling. Yeah, no, not at all. There isn't any track listing or anything like that. You don't know what the hell's going on. They were trying to make an album completely void of any language. And they did it. And this is considered to be, again, a classic of post-rock, of music. And you can hear Jonsi singing on the album, and someone who, I remember listening to this album originally, and someone goes, oh yeah, he's not singing in Icelandic. And I go, what? He's singing in their own made-up language, I want to say, called Vonlenska, which translates to Hopelandic, where essentially he gathered together a bunch of syllables that he can sing in a loop over and over again, and that can, essentially he can sing and put melodies over without having to use lyrics. So he can get the beauty of his very high-pitched, angelic voice, like just otherworldly alien voice, without necessarily needing the assistance of lyrics. And this album is just something else. Just the Untitled 8, Untitled 3, Untitled 1, just every track on here is something to behold, and it's very, 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 very fantastic. Yeah, definitely. This is another great place to start if you want to get into them. This one, a good beginning. Listen to both of those. And after that, moving out of studio albums, we have a little EP. This is the Vaka EP. Now, on their Untitled album, there's 8 tracks. Each one is named Untitled 1, Untitled 2, Untitled 3. They all have names. So, I think, Untitled 6 is Ebo, because they used an Ebo on his guitar, on Jonsi's guitar. Vaka is the name of, I believe, their guitarist's daughter. I could be wrong. And so that was Untitled 1. And so what this is that song, Vaka, Untitled 1, on a little 10-inch. What they did 3 reworks of that track, to where they essentially became just completely different pieces and put them all together onto this little 10-inch here. And they're stunning. They're really nice. It's amazing how much they did with them to become completely different things. And it's a little gatefold too, and it comes with a stencil that you can use for, I guess, spray painting, because that's kind of what the art style on this all kind of looks like spray paint. But yeah, I found it on Discogs one day, and I had to have it. But yeah, not an essential, but fantastic little EP. Next one, another one of my all-time favorites. Ugh, this thing's heavy. Takk. This contains some of their most famous songs. I wouldn't necessarily consider it, it's not considered a classic like their other ones. I put it on the same scale as those ones. I think the reason why is because this album is not as dark, it's not as, I don't know, it's more blissful. There's a lot more instruments, it's more orchestral than anything, and a lot happier in vibe, I guess you could say. A lot more heavenly. And I don't know, a lot of people maybe were turned off by that, but this was my first time really loving them. This is the first time I listened to them and I was like, okay, I get what they're going for here, and I fucking love it. It's on, I guess, 2 LPs and a 10-inch, and this is the deluxe version. It's huge, it's thick, it's heavy. You got the regular 2 LPs, and then the track in the center of the album, kind of the centerpiece of the whole album, Milano, is on this 10-inch here. So it's 3A is what this is considered, because it's a 10.5-minute track, and it's pretty long, so they didn't want to have to squeeze it on the 2 LPs. And then on the back of this little 10-inch here, they have this little etching of kind of what's similar to the album art there. Yeah. But yeah, this album is an incredible piece of music. It contains one of my all-time favorite songs. I can't get this fucking 10-inch back here. God damn it. Yeah, it contains one of my all-time favorite songs, and that being Hoppípolla. It's not one of my all-time favorite songs. It is my favorite song, period. Where's the fucking track listing on this thing? Is it here? Where is it? There it is. Oh my god. as Glossoli, Hoppípolla, Celeste, Seglaper, Hey Satan. It's, again, a very lengthy album, but there's so much fantastic material, so many incredible ideas contained on this fucking album. They just never miss. They never do. It's amazing. It's truly amazing what they do. And then this is a single off of that album, a 10-inch, or 12-inch, of Hoppípolla. Again, my all-time favorite song. There is so much emotion and power behind just that piano. The da 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 da. Every time I listen to that song, I feel 56 emotions just circling in my head over and over again. I can't explain how that song affected me the first time I heard it. I went, this isn't real. You can't make music like this. This exists. It changed everything the minute I listened to it. And then I just went down the rabbit hole of everything else they've ever done and just kept saying that over and over again. And then with that little 12-inch comes with a poster of kind of like that Takk style of art they were doing, which I do want to frame this at some point. This is a really beautiful piece. Alright, moving on from that, we're sticking with kind of EPs and 12 inches and whatnot. This is their little double EP here. This is Hvarf, and this is Heim. Hvarf is 12-inch of a couple of B-sides and extras spanning their entire career prior to this. So you got Sulka from 2002, Hjörmalind from 1999, which was around the Ágætis Byrjun days, which is 2000, so it was around the same time. Von Hafsol off of their debut album, or around, again, that same era, 1995 or so. Yeah, these are all fantastic tracks that you can find on other, they're just rarities you can find on other things. Like, I think Hafsol is actually on that Hoppípolla 12 inches, the B-side. And then on this one, Heim, which I believe was supposed to be the soundtrack to the documentary they did, or like a part of their soundtrack, and it's all acoustic cuts. So, acoustic versions of their classic songs. So you got Semsketi, which I believe was Untitled 3. You got Stadalfur, and off of A Good Beginning, Vaka, I titled 1 again. But my favorite one on here is actually the title track from A Good Beginning, which is a track that I love. It's just a quiet, it was already a pretty acoustic cut on the album. The version they do here is very stunning, I think. I listen to it all the time. I love this version of this song. It's a very, very good. They got Hey Satan, Von, all other classics. If I can get this back in there. Okay, really? You're gonna do this shit to me? In front of my friends, you're gonna do this shit to me? Oh, fuck it. I don't care. Alright, moving on from that. We have... back into, studio albums. We have With a Buzzing in Our Ears, we play endlessly. This is a great album, in my opinion, but an album that kind of turned people off a little bit because it is so happy and blissful and accessible. It's easily their most accessible album. I don't know. It's compared to everything else, there was just so much that they did with it. There were so many more melodies and hooks and catchiness to this album. It wasn't merely just music that stunned you. It was music that got caught in your head. And this, I guess, turned a lot of people off in that case. But yeah, I still think this album is fantastic. And whether I think it ends up being a good place to start for someone to get into this band who isn't previously into post-rock. When I started listening to this band, I was not into post-rock already. And I kind of had to fight to get what was going on there. But I think if someone wanted to get into post-rock, this was a good place to start because it has a lot of the beauty and the ambitious songwriting that they do have on previous albums, but they don't shove it down your throat. It's not heady. It's very easy to digest. And again, I think that's why people didn't like it as much as their other albums, but I find it fucking fantastic. You got Gobbledygook, Inai mer Sigur Vitale Sigur. I don't know if I did that right. I'm not. Festival, Arabetur, and the first occasion of Beyoncé singing in English on their song All Right, which is an amazing song. Yeah, this is just a great album. I think the record's just on black. 180 gram, double pressing. Yeah, just a great album. Great album. Alright, get the fuck back in this sleeve, you stupid record. Oh my god, thank goodness. Can't have that hanging out there. Alright, next one. We're going into a bit of Beyoncé's solo material for a bit. Going a new direction right now. To start off, I want to do Riceboy Sleeps with Beyoncé and Alex Sommers, who I believe they dated at one point. I could be wrong. I don't know. I thought they were boyfriends. I don't know. Whatever. This is essentially an ambient album, but I've listened to a lot of ambient stuff, and there's not a lot of stuff that sounds like this. A lot of ambient music is dark, very electronic, doesn't sound very organic at all. Like, William Basinski type shit. But this album sounds very organic and sounds very natural, and you can still hear the looping, the electronic elements to it, but something about that just kind of melts to the background, and it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels very natural and real, and doesn't feel like this was just made on a computer. And a lot of people didn't like this album. I saw a lot of negative reviews for this album, but something about it just strikes a chord with me. It's just stunning. It's like if you had a Sigur Rós album, but it wasn't a rock album. It's like they made an electronic ambient album, but it has the same vibe that their studio albums does, but no rock instrumentation on top of it. It's a vibe. It's a sleepy time vibe, but it's a gorgeous one. And the packaging is actually really nice too. It's got the cut off edges and everything. It's good. It's a good album. Not mind blowing, but if you want some nice, pretty ambient music, something to throw on while you're studying, falling asleep, it's a good album. It's a good album to do that too. All right, moving on from there, we have Beyoncé's solo album, Go. Is it Go or Go Do? It's just Go. This album, again, I don't think got a lot of love on the internet, but I adore this album. It's essentially a pop album. It's Beyoncé making a pop album, but it's like an orchestral pop album. There is so many instruments and so many sounds going on this album. Like, if you listen to Animal Arithmetic, you listen to Tornado or fucking Sinking Friendships, it's like there's just so much going on, but it has the catchiness of like a Katy Perry song or something. And it blows my mind whenever I listen to this album. I'm just like, I'm having such a fun time, but everything is so beautiful and it's crazy. I love this album, and I think more people need to listen to it. Again, just black pressing. I don't think I have any colored vinyl from them, which is, it's fine. I don't care. But yeah, I haven't heard a pop album that sounds like this ever. So yeah, check out Go by Beyoncé. It blows my mind every time I listen to it. One of my favorite albums. All right, getting back into the band, we have next Inai, which is their live album. Came out it came out after With a Buzzing in Our Ears We Play Endlessly and Valtari. And so there's a lot of stuff from With a Buzzing in Our Ears on here. And a lot of classic materials as well. It's a 3 LP set, so it's a thick boy. It's a thick boy right here. Comes with 3 LPs of music, and it comes with the 2 CDs, and it comes with the Blu-ray containing the concert film itself. The concert film I've watched, and it's actually very beautiful. The cinematography is very out there for a concert film. It doesn't look like a concert film. Everything is very hazy and black and white, and you can't necessarily comprehend what's going on, but it's beautiful nonetheless. It's a great film. If anybody's in the band, definitely check it out. But yeah, it's got classics on here. It's got Stefan G. Englar, Glossoli, Nai Battery. It's got Hoppípolla on there. You gotta have Hoppípolla. You got All Right, you got Popla Geith, which I'm pretty sure they close all their shows out with that. Popla Geith, which was Untitled 8, if I'm not wrong. And then the last song on here is actually not a live song. It's Le Pula Geith. Don't. Just don't. I'm not even going to try. And that ended up being, if I'm not wrong, I believe that became the title track to Valtari. They changed the name to Valtari, and then I think that is now on Valtari, which is the next one I'm going to show you. So yeah, definitely if you're a fan of the band, check this out. See if you can find a place to buy it. I'm not sure how rare it is. I'm not sure how hard it is to find, but it's a great live album with a fantastic movie attached to it. All right, next back to studio albums. Like I said, Valtari. This is one of my favorite albums by them. A lot of people don't go past, like, Takk, really. This is a fantastic album. It's the closest they ever got to really making an ambient rock album. Almost getting back to that original album. But while that album was really dark and quiet and almost minimal, this album is beautiful. It has heavenly strings. It sounds like it's being played at the pearly gates. That's what this album sounds like, and they didn't really have any material like this beforehand. And after With the Buzzing in Our Ears, which was so accessible and easy to listen to, listening to this album, it was completely different. It was a different ride entirely. Double LP I got here. Nothing crazy about the pressing. It has some of my all-time favorite songs by them on here. Ekki Muk, Varúð, Rambi Nutar, Daltlagen, Fugor Piano, which has one of my all-time favorite music videos attached to it as well. You go watch that. Shia LaBeouf's in it. He's naked, but just be aware of that. He's naked in the video. Just be careful. But yeah, this album is something else. It's cool when an artist this came out in like 2012, so they're about 20 years deep into their career at this point. It's cool when an artist can release an album that is not only a great album, but also a fan favorite in later eras of their career. My only critique with this album is, though, the track Varúð doesn't fit on the rest of the album. It is a loud track that does not sound like anything else on here, and it's because they actually recorded it for a soundtrack that didn't work out, so they just plopped it on here, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't fit at all, and you can tell that they made this at a time that wasn't during the recording of this album. And the reason that I have this is because of that. This is a 10-inch with the single Varúð. So since I think it's very out of place on Valtari, I can just listen to it on its own, because it is an incredible track. It just does not fit at all on that album. Yeah, so it's just a wonderful track, and it's builds, and the build is so great on that track. It's dark, it's beautiful, it's great. But yeah, this is a cool 10-inch because it has Varúð on this side, and the B side is Logan, which I don't even remember that track. I'm not even sure if I can recall it, but the 10-inch, actually, when you put the needle on, you don't put it here. You put the needle here, and then it goes outward like that, which is, I've never seen, I don't have any other records like that. I don't know why they did it, but it's cool. I love it. Yeah, just a cute little 10-inch there. Something nice to have. Moving past that, we have, get this back in there. What is probably the most important album in my life? Well, it's not my favorite of theirs. It's the most important because it was the first one I ever listened to by them. And it's Kveiker. Kveiker is important because I bought this by accident on iTunes when it first came out back in, March 2013, I believe. March or May, one of those two. And I was like, whatever, forget it. I'll just throw it on my phone and I won't worry about it. And that's exactly what I did. And I essentially just had it on there, and one day I was on Shuffle, listening to Shuffle, and Isyakai came on. And I was like, wait a minute, is this off that album I bought? That weird-ass album I bought that sucks? And it was catchy, and it had a hook to it. Na 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 Isyaki. Like, it had something that connected with me, and I went, oh, wait a minute, what's this? And I listened to the rest of the album that day all the way through, and I went, oh, wait a minute, I kind of like this. This is pretty good. And so I went through every single one of their albums over the course of the next year or so. And my entire view of music changed because of this album. If it wasn't for this album, I would still be listening to whatever shitty-ass pop music was on the radio, forgetting about it in a week, and then listening to what else is popular. I had never listened to an album that had lasting power, that had staying power, that sounded like this, that felt like this, that moved like this. I had never listened to anything like this. And because of this, I am a different man when it comes to music. All of this music I have, you can string right the fuck back to this album. And that's why this is one of the most important albums in my life. And while it might not be one of my favorites anymore, I don't think that diminishes just how important it is. Yeah, and with that, I got one more here, and it's just a little, 10-inch that came with the album. Just has a remix by Blank Mass on it, a remix of Brennenstein, and then a couple of B-sides that I'm not too familiar with. I don't listen to too much. But yeah, with that is my Sigur Rós collection. I hope I inspired you guys to check out this band. I think they're just incredible, and I think more people should listen to them, even though they're already a pretty popular band. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching.